we want to say is, welcome, welcome. Say it. Welcome. Come on in. Welcome to the warehouse. Sorry. Thank Yahweh for all things. This is what tradition calls Shabbat HaGadol, the Great Shabbat. This is the Sabbath when, now in Egypt, this would not have been considered that because the descendants of Jacob, the Israelites at that time, were not keeping the Sabbath. Because they were in bondage, they forgot their faith. They did not carry it down from generation to generation. But there were traditions in place, like circumcision. They continued that. They continued their name. They continued their language. So a lot of things they kept in place through just tradition. But when they went into the promised land, Yahweh had to remind them when the Sabbath was. But in the wilderness and forth, this was considered the great Sabbath. Not that it was any greater than any other one, but it would have been considered the longest Sabbath of the year because the rabbis, or not just the rabbis, the sages, the men of Elohim, they were given instructions on how to take the lamb, how to partake of it. People didn't know if they had to give a lamb to someone. So it was just a very busy Sabbath. It would go over what to read, the prayers, how to properly cook the lamb, because on a normal case, men would not give sacrifices. They would just present a live lamb to the priests, and then they would do all of it. But for this time, every man had to operate independently and burn the lamb, and so they had to receive instructions. They would ask questions about the Pesach and different things. That's now our intent today, to make this the longest Shabbat of the year. Hopefully we can make it rather short so we can all get home and prepare. And the timing is fitting, as we'll see, because when we look at the sufferings and the fellowship of the sufferings of our Mashiach, we will see that it does fit into the sacrifice that he gave of himself and of his life. So without further ado, we're going to open up in prayer. Thank God for everyone that is here. Of course, we thank the Creator for the parents of Brother Omar. And let us stand for them as we stand for the Hori. Let us stand and just give homage and honor to them for being here with us. It's an honor. Anyone that, I'm really... One thing in our culture that we have not continued in, that I regret, is not giving honor to our, I don't even like to use the word elderly, but to our elders, we'll say it like that. That has been so lost amongst us to a point now where even our elders are not, they are so, well, that's a bad word to use. I don't even know if I can use it. I'll just say bent on trying to seem relevant and be young and try to seem like I still got it. We were talking about Nas called it second childhood, where you got older cats still trying to be in the streets, still trying to be relevant. Because we as a people, we're not honoring our elders, we're not honoring them, and that's something that Torah lists. You always want to keep them around. One of the, granted, it was prophesied that it would happen, but Yahweh can always teach a lesson in prophecy, and he can also repent. When I say repent, it doesn't mean he can change his mind, but he can stop a prophecy from happening. He can stop a punishment, like he did Nineveh. So Rehoboam, the king of Yisrael, was the son of Solomon, the grandson of David. He was asked, he had a choice. Should I listen to the elders or should I listen to the young men? Of course, he listened to his boys, and that ended up breaking up the kingdom of Yisrael. That's when it split. And it has not been back together. Just from that one decision, I'm going to listen to my guys instead of listening to sound judgment. And I think we talked about 1 week what was one key to wisdom. And one key to wisdom was Solomon was telling his son, don't get involved with your peers to where they make you do what is right or make you do what is wrong. And speaking from experience, I'm sure you can too, is a lot of our peers, especially in the time we grew up, really heavily influenced us in a negative way. My daughter asked me something. I don't know what we was talking about, and I told her something. How did the conversation come up? You got a mic right there, by the way. We were talking about cooking something. I don't know what it was. Yeah, we talking about flour. Was it flour or something like that? We were talking about cooking something. All right, you can, because they got to hear you. They can't hear you. It's on now. You good. Did I put batteries in there?
Basically, we were talking about making some. No, I think I made a reference of like, we were talking about Red Bulls.
No, that's not the conversation.
And you were saying it's not that bad. No, I was comparing it to like Ritz crackers.
No, that wasn't it. That wasn't the conversation. Yeah, we were talking about cooking. And you were saying I cooked something, and I was like, yeah, I cooked.
Oh, yes.
You remember what it was?
I don't remember what we said before that, but you said that you cooked crack.
She was like, what? She was like, what? I said, yeah, I mean, you had to. If you was going to sell it, you had to cut it up.
I said, why you couldn't just sell it? Why you had to make it?
And so I was telling, I said, that's how it was. We all was involved in it. It was just so common. I didn't take it.
I was sitting here thinking y'all were actually talking about cooking.
That's how the conversation came out. And so it was just how, and the conversation led on how much we were influenced so much. I said it was so common. It was just the norm in doing that. And
I want to co-sign the influence of our friends.
Yes.
Was way more than our elders.
Yes.
We saw our elders as old and didn't know what they were talking about.
Right.
And our friends knew everything because we agreed. We had commonality.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it was all negative.
Yes.
And so it led us down the path of destruction.
Yeah. And I was the first practical, that's what it was we were talking about. What is the first, what was it?
I think Mom had mentioned, she said, why did y'all have to sell drugs, or
Yeah.
something like that. And I was like, that's all they do. They all did that.
Yeah.
And I forgot what mom said, but it was something along the lines of like seeing what your other peers did and like doing it too.
Yeah, it was in that vein of conversation. We're talking about all the things our peers do. And so when some of, like nowadays, everyone says social media is the equivalent to the crack era in our time. And I said, there's no way it could compare. I said to see what life was like before and after, and I was able to see life before, and then I was able to see life after. And I couldn't, you didn't know it was transitioning, but it was such a, I guess, an epidemic. Is that the right word to say? We all were affected by it. We all had relatives that were affected by it. We all seen healthy relatives deteriorate. We've seen our friends who had mothers who were working every day and then they were out in the streets selling themselves. We saw the quality of the apartments that we lived in. The projects were not bad like we deem them to be now. Some projects you might get mugged or whatever. Somebody might break into your house and rob it. There was never murder in the streets like it was. It was never the violence in our communities. The most violence we had when we were rioting. When police caused the most violence in our communities before it, but when crack cocaine came in, it was so different. It changed everything. And they even made money off it by the music development. You can see how the music changed, how hip-hop changed. And hip-hop was not going platinum on a regular until they brought the violence into it. It was rare. And then when it finally, guys that were speaking about peace and bringing ourselves together, because hip-hop was becoming a revolutionary tool. But then when that part came into it and all of the record execs got to it, they really took it to another level. Money involved, and it was just bad. And we still have not recovered. And the reason why our children are violent now, because they are the sons of the crack era. They're the sons of that epidemic, right?
And I would add that it wasn't a coincidence.
It was not a coincidence.
It was perfectly planned and executed to be that way.
Yeah.
Taking away us saying we called each other brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
That's what we call kings and queens, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then next you know it was B's and H's and N's. So
100%. You ever heard the story about they tell in some of the urban areas they had train tracks? Like you have train tracks here. So that's not recorded in the news, but you hear some of the older people, they say, hey, every now and then there would be trains that would come in, and it would just stop, and it would be there for days, and people would wonder, well, what is that? Why is that train here? And they would go, and then a lot of young men, because we did that, we would just explore different things. I told you about that time we started the construction machines. We was out playing around. So they would go to the train, and when they went on the trains, they would find just guns. It would be guns and artillery, and the young men would just take them. And then when they came and they take them, the train would leave. So, yeah, there's countless stories about that in various neighborhoods.
That gives new meaning to redlining.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That gives a whole nother meaning.
Yeah, a lot of older people say, hey, we would see this train, and it would be there. We would say, what is this train for? And after a few days, they would just go and say, let's just see. And when they would go, it'd just be just guns, artillery, bullets, all these guns. And they would take them, and then when they cleaned them out, then the train would just leave. They said that would happen a number of times. Y'all ever heard in school, of the Iran-Contra affair? Well, anyway, Reagan was funding an entire war based on them selling crack in our neighborhoods and guns in our neighborhoods. And that's how he funded the whole war. Yeah. Yeah. And when they brought him to court about it, if y'all look up Ollie North, and when they went to court about it and they had hearings, they would all say, I don't remember what happened. I don't know.
I know how they'll know it. Rick Ross.
Right. Yeah, right.
Rick Freeway, Ricky Ross.
Freeway, Ricky Ross. What's the movie? What is the show they got out now? BMF. Yeah, that's how a lot of that was funded. Yeah, to a lot of the Iran-Contra affairs and things. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's stories, man. Oh, man. You hear some of the stories about them. That's really when Atlanta started popping off. So you hear some story about them guys. But I guess all that to say, the influence of our peers over our elders can really lead us to dark areas and places that we should be where we shouldn't be. And that's how ignorance starts. And even now, I try to, we conversate. We'll sit at a table, we'll conversate, we'll argue. And then when they think they win in an argument, and then they'll say, how can you, prove it? And I'll say, you just don't know. You haven't reached a certain age. And then they'll roll their eyes. Here you go. And that's how it ends up. And it's not that they're not like saying what I say exactly, whatever. But it's like, okay, here we go again. Because I was the same way. It's just some things I can't prove a document and show you from a pattern. There's just some things you don't know unless you experience it. And I hate falling back in it. I really do. I hate because I know. I really do. That, if y'all don't know, that's always the last resort when I say it. It's the last resort. Yeah. And some things you just know through experience. I'm sure you all can tell us that. Us in our age, some things you just going to know. Like your son, does he he gets on y'all sometimes about taking care of yourselves, about doing this and that. He wants y'all to do things different. And y'all probably can tell him, you don't know how it is. We value our strength. We value our independence. And we value it. And now you still got yours. We're trying to hold on to ours. And so it's what you're saying could be 100% right. But this is just something that we are experiencing. You haven't experienced it. You can get up. You can maneuver. You can go wherever. And we've lived all our lives with that independence. And now we're at this stage, we're not in a nursing home. We're not in wheelchairs. We're not hooked up to a machine. We want to go, we want to move. And, so it's going to be that way. But it's just the way, I guess, Elohim designed it. It's like a cat we all have. So I wish we could all do a better job of honoring our elders. Scriptures is the only one that appreciates that. Give honor to whom honor is due. The apostle told Timothy, you honor every brother, honor every man as a brother and every elder as a father. And so, but that's the long and short of it. But we thank Yahweh for this time in this moment. Let's do, this is a shame, quick word of prayer, and then we'll go on quickly to end this part of the session. Our Father who art in heaven, who have made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance in the light, blessed be He. We thank you for your holy Sabbath, for Ruach HaKodesh that you have placed among us to strengthen us and guide us along the way. O truth and light, thank you for all things. Remember us on this week, those that are traveling to be here, us that are here, sustain, strengthen, equip us, furnish us where we can have the resources to serve you in spirit and in truth. Let your healing virtue be upon us all. Perfect that which concerneth us and strengthen us with all durable power and might. Remember Brother Jeremiah, Sister Alex. Remember Brother Wayne, Sister Didi and their family. Eternal Father, remember every one of us here today. We thank you. Sister Peach and her family. Remember her mother. Touch us. Remember my father, Eternal Father. Continue to strengthen us all with your wisdom, your power, and might. Thank you for sustaining us and upholding all things by the word of your power. You are our strength like no other. Thank you for all things. In the name of Yeshua, blessed be He. We say so, let it be. All right. So we're down to the last two. Let's see if we can finish these two today quickly, as they say this time. We have the last two. We have one. all right, it is finished. How does that help us where we are putting our flesh under subjection? How does that help us? How does that aid us? Hebrews 4 says Elohim finished all his works on the Sabbath day, even though they were completed from the foundation of the world. Embedded in creation is a plan to save creation. Yeah, without question. When Yahweh made the earth a certain way, he made it where there is almost like a, and I don't think they did this effectively. They haven't made things. He made creation with the kill safe, I guess. Kill switch. And I don't even know if kill switch is the right word. Fail safe, right. That if anything goes wrong, I got a plan in place. And once Adam and Eve was made, Adam and Kawa was made, there was a plan in place, a fail safe. Fail switch, fail safe? Fail safe. That if anything goes wrong, I'll pick up the slack. And so it took a long time for that plan to actually be completed. Long time, generations after generations. From David until Hamashiach was 42 generations. So how much more, if you look at Luke, he traces the generations going all the way back to Adam. And they trace the line of Hamashiach all the way to Adam. And so when we get to Hamashiach now, completing the task, because he did not die for us to be saved. He did not die for us to be forgiven. He died that the penalty may be paid for the sins of man. Because by one man, according to Romans, sin did what? Enter into the age, enter into the world, and death by sin. And so when he is finally finishing, matter of fact, we can go to it in, what is that, John what? John 19. And John is the only one, if I'm not mistaken, that records this. But it is a way, and it's a reason why the scripture narrates it like it is. And we'll get to how this will help us in our journey, like the song says, while I'm on this tedious journey. When I was a kid, I used to think it was a peaceful journey. And then when I got older, I realized, oh no, it's not peaceful. Anybody know this journey knows it can get rough out here in these holy streets. So, John 19, what verse was that? All right. 19, and remember last week we talked about thirst, when he said our thirst, and how there is, when you do right, there is a wanting and a need for fulfillment that you'll never get in this age for doing right. And so as long as you do right, you will continue to thirst for the age which is to come, right? And so now as he thirsted, verse 30 says what?
When he had received the drink, Yeshua said, "It is finished." With that, he bowed his head and gave up his spirit.
All right. Can you start at verse 28? Sorry.
Later, knowing that everything had now been finished.
All right. Now he knows that everything had been what? Finished. He knows there's nothing left to do. All this time, from the moment Adam and Eve ate that fruit, that's when the plan kicked in. And now what? 4,000 years later. 33 years later from him being in the womb of Miriam. And now all of the suffering, he realized at this time that what?
It had been finished.
It had been finished. Keep reading.
And so that scripture would be fulfilled. Yeshua said, "I am thirsty."
Yes.
A jar of wine vinegar was there, so they soaked a sponge in it, put the sponge on a stalk of the hyssop plant, and lifted it to Yeshua's lips.
All right. Keep that word in mind. Not now, that word hyssop, but keep the word in mind for the next service. All right? So it was a branch of hyssop, and he lifted it up to his mouth. Verse 30.
And when he had received the drink, Yeshua said, "It is finished."
Now it is finished. And then he did what?
With that he bowed his head and gave up his spirit.
All right. Now there's one thing that they also said that happened, but John didn't record it. But he said it is finished. All right. Now, that word, you got the Blue Letter Bible? All right. That word in Greek is what? Pull it up. Is a Greek word, I believe it's telos. 20 verse, that word, it is finished. Scroll down. What version is that? Teleo, yeah, Teleo. What number is it? Look at your screen. Don't look at that one. Okay. Oh, was it? All right. So you see where it says bring to a close or bring to a finish? And then, but that teleo, it should also give you a root Greek word next to that. And what is that word? Telos. All right. Can you click on that Greek word? Right, word etymology. That number G5056. Up. Yep. Click on that. So if you're ever using this app, you can follow like how a word starts, the root word. That root word, telos. And then if you scroll down, it means what?
End.
Yeah.
Termination. The limit at which a thing ceases to be.
All right, but go up one more where it says the root word.
A primary from telo.
Right.
To set out for a definite point or goal.
All right. So that word, telos, is only done when there's a set out definite goal. It doesn't mean like the end of something. It means the completion of something. It means you start, like if you're on a journey, the end of the journey does not mean that the road explodes. It just means you've gotten to that particular point of the journey, to your destination. We get telephone, telecommunications, television. There's a signal that comes from somewhere and it gets to you. Once you turn on that TV, the journey of whatever signals is completed. Now, can that journey go on? Yes, but it is completed when it gets to you. That means the goal has been accomplished, all right? Now, the only way that HaMashiach was able to walk in perfection, he had to keep in mind that the goal had to be accomplished. Is there scriptures for that? Yes. Look at Hebrews chapter 12. I think it's chapter 12. Or it might be 13. Anybody with me so far, right? Yeah, it is 12. All right. And if you could read that. Yeah, start at 1.
Hebrews 12:1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses.
Everybody's there, right? Since we're on this point, did everybody do what they were supposed to do by Passover?
Study Bibles.
Yes. All right, D. Yeah, all right, D.
All right.
DP. All right.
What was it again?
To obtain a study Bible.
Make sure we had a study Bible.
A physical study Bible.
References and everything. If you already had it, you didn't have to go out and get one. So, but that was like the goal. All right. So Hebrews 12:1 says what?
Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles.
Right.
And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us.
Now, does it say, let us throw aside the sin?
Everything that hinders and the sin.
Everything that hinders, or King James says, lay aside every weight.
Every weight and sin.
All right. But that is more of a, what verse is that?
This is NIV. Mm-hmm.
All right. But it gives more of a translation of an idea more than just letter for letter. Because and that's the point I think we try to drive home here, is that it is not just black and white sin that will keep you from missing the mark. It is other things that will lead to sin, and if it doesn't lead to sin, it will prevent you from completing the journey. And we've been saying this for years. If you miss out, it will not be because of sin. It will be because you're spiritually lazy. Because Yeshua paid the price for sin. He did not pay the price for you to be lazy. He did not pay the price for you not to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. So if you miss out, you can't say sin kept me out, because he forgives sins. But he will not forgive your laziness, your ability to just allow grass to grow under your feet. There's a scripture in Proverbs, I won't go to it, where Solomon said he went past the field of someone and he saw the field. He said, man, it's just thorns growing, weeds growing. It just didn't look kept. And then he sat and he said, boy, just a little relaxing, a little twiddling of the thumbs, and this can happen. And sometimes you can be so relaxed and you think, well, I'm not sinning. There are people that say, hey, this isn't a sin or that isn't a sin. And they're right. But that, whatever it is, it will not keep you from developing. It will keep you from perfection. And you have to be perfect. That's why even in the scripture in Philippians, he mentions about being perfect, knowing him in the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings, and that will bring about perfection, all right? And so he says, lay aside what?
Let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles.
Right.
And let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us.
Right.
Fixing our eyes on Yeshua, the pioneer and perfecter of faith.
All right. Now, that word perfecting, click on that word. King James says the author and what?
Finisher.
Finisher of our faith. Now, click on that word finisher. What is that word?
Perfecter.
Perfecter, sorry.
Click on the,
And what is that word? Toledos, right? And it, yeah. And then when you, no, you don't have to click the speaker. I don't think it. And then when you click on that word where it says root etymology, and it give you what? To make perfect or what? To complete. Now, right. Now
you got to speak it into the microphone so that everyone can hear.
Good to see you. Then you click on that word, 3046. Yeah, click right on it. And it'll get you here. Brought to an end, to finish, to complete. All right? And that's that word, teleos, the word we looked at before. You see how we come back full circle? All those are root words. It's like you have finish, finishing, finished, or will finish, but it's all a root type of finish. And so these are all variations of this Greek word. So Yeshua said it is finished. He is the author or perfecter. Perfecting means perfect, means to be complete. Complete wanting nothing. Shalom is complete wanting nothing. All right? And so he is the perfecter or completer of our faith. So when he said it is finished, he says it's complete. It doesn't mean you don't have to continue in what he says, but there's nothing more now that will hold you back. Everything I've done, everything I can do for you now. All right? Now it is up to you. My job is done. debt has been paid. It's like, anybody ever been bankrupt? Yeah, you have? When you're bankrupt, does that mean you're rich? No. Does that mean you are well off? It just means what? You're broke. And when do you declare bankrupt? When you're broke, or what else?
Trying to get out of debt.
When you owe more than what you got.
When you owe more than what you have. You could go broke, and then they might say, nah, you ain't going bankrupt. We're not going to let it. But when you owe more than what you have, that's when you are considered, that's when they let you declare bankrupt. Right. You spent more. You bit off more than you could chew. And literally, we did that. We bit off. And so, but because Yeshua died, it doesn't mean you have salvation. Just like if you're bankrupt, it doesn't mean you're rich. It just means the debt is paid. It doesn't mean I'm bankrupt now, let me call a mortgage broker and get a house. What do you have to do when you're bankrupt? What does that give you the opportunity to do? Right. Wipe the slate clean, restart, and you can build your credit. And that's what we all are doing. We are restarting. Yeshua gives us the opportunity to restart. So he says it is finished. Now, what gave him the ability to do this? Now, keep reading.
Fixing our eyes on Yeshua, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. Perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of Elohim.
All right. So the joy that was set before him, and that means that he had a goal in mind, right? And if he never had a goal in mind, he would have never finished. That's why I said it is finished. It is complete. That's why he's the author and finisher of our faith. But it was for what? The joy that was what?
Set before him.
Right. He had a goal. Without him having that goal, he would have never did it. That's why the writer goes on to say this. Who did what? For the joy that set before him did what?
Endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of Elohim.
Now, he had to endure the torture and the shame, but he would have never been able to sit down on the right hand of Elohim unless he had that goal in mind. You will never be able to obtain immortality unless you have that goal in mind. You'll never be fulfilled. You'll never be enriched when you do right. Don't look for reward by doing right. Would it be good to receive one? Would it be good to get a pat on the back? Sure it would. But don't look for it because you do right. Don't think everybody's going to notice, hey, you did right. Let's admonish you. Don't work like that. Heaven does, right?
That's like doing something and just to get a thank you.
100%.
Just to receive something, and then because then you're salty when somebody don't say it.
We talked before about the Chris Rock rule, right? People always want credit for doing something they're supposed to do. All right. And a lot of us want credit for doing right. I do right. What, you want, a biscuit? All right. Heaven reward. Yeshua said, behold, I come quickly, and what? My reward is with me. It's not here. All right. There's a goal. Now, look at, keeping in mind with that word, telos. Look at 1 Peter. I know it's 1 Peter because I looked it up. Otherwise, I'll be guessing. 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 8. Verse 9.
Start at verse 9.
Yeah. Everybody here? Can you read that from the King James? Well, what does NIV say? That. Yeah, can you read it from King James?
Receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your souls.
All right. Now, 1 Peter 1 and 5 says, what is the end of your faith?
1 Peter 1 and 5 says, who are...
Oh, no, I'm sorry. 1 and 8. Oh, Not as bad. Good gracious.
It says, whom having not seen ye love.
No, that's even worse. 1 and 9. What you just read.
Receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your souls.
All right. What is the end of your faith? Right. And click on that word end. And go down. Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Our good old familiar word.
Telos.
Telos.
The same word when Yeshua said it is finished. Same word Hebrews says, and it's the same word now. The goal or the end or the completion of your faith is what?
The salvation of our souls.
So that's the goal. You will never put your flesh to death unless you have the goal in mind. There is an end result. And NIV says for that scripture 1 and 9. Sorry.
NIV says, for you are receiving the end result of your faith, the salvation of your souls.
Right. The end result. All right. It's the same word. It doesn't mean that your faith ends. But what it means, that is the goal. Look at 1 John chapter 6, I think it is. And then we'll go on to the next one. What's that? Huh? Oh. 5, sorry. Yeah, 1 John 5, verse 4. That what? Yeah. 1 John 5 and verse 4.
1 John 5 and 4. For everyone born of Elohim overcomes the world.
Uh-huh.
This is the victory that has overcome the world.
What?
Even our faith.
So your faith is for overcoming the world or the age. It's good to have faith just to get through the day. You should. But that's not the reason why Yahweh gives you his word. It doesn't give you his word as a pep talk. It doesn't give you his word where you could talk in the mirror and admonish yourself. It doesn't give you a word for some type of program or we often say people use seek ye first the kingdom of Elohim and all his righteousness, and these things shall be added unto you. And they tell you that, hey, if you do seek the kingdom, you're going to get a promotion. It's not what Yahweh's saying. All right, I slay up. All right, it's not what he's saying. It just means that Yahweh's word is for you, his persuasion. The reason why you believe is to overcome this age. It's not even for you to get healed. Should you believe Yahweh? Of course you should. But that's not why he gives ultimately the goal is for you to reach perfection and for you to have your ticket punched for the age to come. That is the victory to which we overcome the age, even our faith. It is the goal of your faith. And this is why Yeshua said it is finished. The goal has been reached. The mark has been obtained. And this is why the apostle says, I press towards what? The mark of the what?
The prize of
the prize of the high calling. There is a goal in mind. And we reach the goal when?
The salvation of our
yes,
souls.
when we get to the kingdom, when he appears the second time without sin unto salvation. If you do not keep that in mind, you will not reach perfection. You won't do it. If Yeshua didn't keep it in mind, he would not have done it, right? For the joy that was set before him, joy unspeakable, full of glory, right? Enter into the what of Yahweh? Enter into the joy of Yahweh. And that was the joy that he set before him. And that's the joy that we all should be setting before us. So when he said it is finished, that means the goal is complete. And that's how we work on ourselves. If you're looking for some type of award or some type of admonishment to work on yourselves, check out. It's not happening. And if you do, you will be discouraged. Don't look for anybody to appreciate you. Don't even look for someone to embrace your journey of perfection with you at times. Don't look to say, hey, especially somebody that's not in this way. Especially somebody that's not in this walk. They can't. There's no way they can understand your journey. There's no reason to keep the Sabbath if it wasn't for the kingdom. So you can't take what admonishes you as keeping the Sabbath, and then someone else does it for something else and think they're going to embrace that. It don't work like that. And not only that, even Sabbath keepers, even those that are of the awakening, if their goal is not perfection, they can't be on your journey. Because a lot of our goals is to be awake, not to be perfect. And we think we got to wake everybody up. And then, we awaken them, then they'll, right? And Brother Omar was saying, it's a brother that's awake, knows who he is, knows the tribe, knows it, and can't get off the block. Because the goal is not to be awake. The goal is to be perfect. What does the apostle tell you to do? Awake to what? And
sin not.
And he said, I speak this to what?
To your shame.
I speak to your shame. You ought to be embarrassed at the stuff you're doing. Wake up. And so, but if they can't embrace your journey for perfection, they will not embrace any other journey. People, I knew a brother that he bragged because he said, my lips have never touched swine. He bragged about, I've never eaten unclean in my life. But his journey was not to be perfect. His journey was to brag about how he grew up in the way. And we know people that grew up in this way, but the desire was never to be perfect. And because their desire was not perfection, they're doing whatever. Whatever. That's not the goal. The goal of your faith is to reach perfection. Does that make sense? Once Yeshua did that, he said what? What's the next one on this list? And then we're done.
Father, into your hands I commend my spirit.
All right. So let's go to that chapter and verse. And let's go to it on the Blue Letter Bible because we would need you to click on that word commend when we get there. And let's get the context. What chapter is that? What is it? Luke? Now, if you can imagine the scene, it is dark. He is dying. There are literally people there watching him die. And he didn't do anything wrong to anybody. All he did was help. All he did was feed. All he did was give to people. All he did was help people. Heal the sick. Raise the dead. And they're literally watching him take his last breath and celebrating. And then as he is there, beat into a pulp, beat so bad his mother couldn't recognize him. And who knows if he's just crying in pain, if he's just, I don't know, maybe by this time the pain is numbing because he's dying. So maybe by then the pain is leaving. What was the show we was watching? What's that show we was just watching with the nuclear war and everything? Paradise. And the lady was sick, and she was just in pain. She said, oh, man, it ain't hurting no more. She said, it's not hurting anymore. Oh, you really did a great job. And the girl knew, oh, dang, she checking out. And a little while after, and so imagine now, maybe the pain is finally leaving our Mashiach. Over 12 hours of just torture and pain. And then, okay, all right, now read this verse. Where does it start?
Luke 23. 46.
Everybody's here, right?
Luke 23 and 46.
Luke 23 and 46.
Did you want me to start right there, or do you want me to start at 44?
Start at 44, I guess.
It was about noon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon.
So for 4 hours,
3.
3 hours.
Yes,
sorry.
sir, sorry.
No, thank you for correcting the math. 3 hours, and you'll see why that number is significant in the later service. 3 hours. What time is it now? Look how bright it is. And then all of a sudden, it's just dark like midnight. And it stays that way for 3 hours. And he's just there dying. And maybe somebody's saying, maybe we got this one wrong. Like the OJ trial. When he got off, and OJ started doing those talking, he said, maybe. But after all the darkness, he's thinking, oh, wow. That's why the centurion said, boy, truly, this is the son of Elohim. And he wasn't a religious man. He knew this was not a typical man. So for 3 hours of darkness, this happened. And what happened?
For the sun stopped shining, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Yeshua called out with a loud voice, Father.
All right, so now, all this time, he's dying, probably whispering, and the very last breath he takes, the last bit of strength in his body, he just yells out. Because it had to be quiet. And he just yells out, what?
Father, into your hands I commit my spirit.
And then what?
When he had said this, he breathed his last. The centurion, seeing what had happened, praised Elohim and said, surely this was a righteous man. When all the people who had gathered to witness this sight saw what took place, they beat their breasts and went away. But all those who knew him, including the women who had followed him from Galilee, stood at a distance watching these things.
It had to be some scene. Because he had to be quiet for I don't know how long, just in pain. And then he just yells that out. And when he yells it out, he dies. That's it. I know they were not anticipating a resurrection. But you see the women there just looking at him. He's gone. He really didn't do it. He did not. He's not the one. He didn't stop the Romans. He didn't do all that. And he just yells that out. Now, click on that word, commend. Commit, yeah. And he literally was giving his spirit to Elohim. We can't do that, although we wish we could. Yahweh has to receive it. What does that word commit say?
Paradathiyami?
Yeah. All right, now read go down where it says the definitions. What does that say?
To place alongside, present, like food or truth, by implication, to deposit as a trust or for protection, allege, commend, commit, the keeping of, put forth, set before.
So, read that the first part of the definition.
To place alongside.
Yeah, keep reading that part. Sorry.
For example, to present, like food or truth.
To present, like what?
Food or truth.
Now, what would you present to the priest?
An offering.
That was either what? It was a sacrifice. And the priest can do it and use it for what? Food. And this is what Yeshua was doing. He was literally giving the Most High his sacrifice. And the sacrifice, we'll learn it in the next service, the burnt sacrifice meant to go up. It had to be burnt because that was a sacrifice that had to be raised up. It was an offering that ascended. When Noah gave his sacrifice, the smoke ascended and Yahweh smelled the sweet savor. And then when he smelled it, to ease his wrath, and he said, man, no more will I destroy man like this. It just, when Noah did it, it made him see, this is why I love this God. Y'all ever been mad at somebody, probably a child? Boy, you be so angry at your child, and they do something, you be like,
When one of our children were little, and they would get in trouble, they would write us an apology letter. I still have a few those apology letters.
This is one of those letters.
Oh.
This is one of those letters to Dad. March 16th, 2004. That's what it says. Oh, it's 2014. My bad. You scribbled it.
We actually thought it was Dre.
No, this is. So it is, and you probably got out of it as she often does.
It just eased our wrath.
Even now, she will invoke the wrath, and after a while, it's just y'all know, y'all see my wrath sometimes, and I say it. This is about to happen, and the wrath is eased. What do you mean? Why? I just thought it was sweet.
And everyone says, "Oh," at the same time.
But it does. And what Yahweh did was he presented a man. That's why he said he is the Son of Man. Because he presented his spirit as the offering. And the same way you would come as a trespass offering. If you did wrong, and you brought that offering, and you would look for admonishment or forgiveness, and the priest would take that offering, cut it all up and stab it, and gut it and burn it all, and the smell of it, because the altar had the incense and everything on it, had the oil on it already, and when you put that sacrifice on there, boy, the smell of it would just go up to Elohim, and his wrath would be, I don't know what the word would be, subsided, appeased, where it would be calm. And when Yeshua did that, he was saying, now I'm presenting my body a living sacrifice. And that's what we do. We, by us crucifying our desires, our flesh, the things we want to do, when I say crucifying, that means taking on a painful journey. Because it is painful. It might not be painful to your body, but it is painful to your psyche, to your spirit, to your inner man, when you're alone, when you feel rejected, when you feel like I can't do this or I can't do that, or if I make this decision, I know it's going to be backlash, repercussions, people are going to leave me alone, my family's not going to want to do it with me, or this or that. Or third, you committed to Elohim for a sweet, savoring incense. And look at Ephesians, and we'll wrap it up here. I think it's Ephesians. We have become, of his own will, he have begotten us that we should be a kind of first fruits. We are literally waved before the Most High. And that's why the festivals could not start until you brought that offering. Could not start. That's why, in all fairness, it wasn't the people itself that would start the count. It was the priests. And when that priestly order was disrupted, that's why now you have all these calendars and dates and times, because that particular order is disrupted, because we couldn't present the first fruits, the Omar, to the priest where he can wave it, and we can't count. So now we can all guess and say, oh, this is when the year starts, so that's when we should keep this holy days. But no, but that is exactly that we should be a kind of first fruits. And so that's why the apostle says, he says, I beg you, by Elohim's mercy, you present your body. Yeah. Now, you don't have to die in the way that Hamashiach did. And then when the early, not so much the apostles themselves, because they knew they would probably give their lives, but a lot of the early people and believers were thinking they had to invoke government in order to have their lives taken, because they felt like they weren't doing right unless they were giving their lives. And sometimes it is harder to live right than it is to die right. Is a lot of believers would rather give their lives and be shot for what they believe than to just keep living and doing right day after day. I I don't know if y'all are familiar with the rapture theory. Y'all familiar with the rapture theory? When y'all were taught about the rapture theory, were y'all taught a tribulation or not tribulation? They call it, they have a...
They're going to escape tribulation.
Okay, so you were taught, I think that's pre-trib? Yeah.
I never really was taught to believe in it. I was taught that it wasn't not to believe.
Yeah. Well, growing up, we were always taught the rapture. We were taught that, Shalom, it's good to see you. We were always taught, there was always a debate, still is a debate. They call it pre-trib, post-trib, meaning that will believers suffer a tribulation and then be raptured, or will we be raptured and then all the world will suffer tribulation? So there's a debate now amongst church people. And so I had a friend of mine that he said, well, I'm not going to really live right now. I'm going to wait for the rapture. And that way I'll give my life and I'll be killed and I'll make it. We got some minds growing up as so yeah. And so he was trying to manipulate the system. He didn't think I would make it. Yeah. Loophole. He didn't think something might happen to me before then, either way. But believers are like that. And that's why you have even a lot of believers now, they're listening for trumpets or they're listening, watching the news because they say, hey, we know this will happen, and when we begin to suffer or give our lives, or when the government comes after us, that's when we'll lock in. And it's harder to lock in now when all the world is going a certain way, and then you as a believer have to make a decision. I'm going to live for Elohim. I'm going to present my body a living sacrifice. And so Yeshua, after he had lived the life, he sent his body up as a sacrifice. And it ascended. That's why we learned not too many weeks ago, he that first has ascended must have first what? Descended into the lower parts of the earth. And then when he ascended, he led captivity captive and gave gifts unto men. But that was the part of the sacrifice. That's why he told, who was it, Miriam? I told you later, I'm done, almost done. I'm right on pace. He told her, touch me not, huh? I have not what? Ascended to the Father. That's the sacrifice ascending up. The smoke in the temple from the sacrifice could not go level. It had to be an offering that ascended up. So look at Ephesians chapter 5.
And no one could touch that offering.
No one could touch that offering.
Wow,
it was holy. It was holy. It could not be contaminated. It could not be touched. He said, "Oh Allah, touch me not, because I have not what? Ascended to the Father." Right? Look at, this is what I want, so I got to go to the others. Look at Ephesians 5:2. What does that say?
Ephesians 5:2 in the NIV. And walk in the way of love, just as Hamashiach loved us and gave himself up for us as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to Elohim.
So that's what Elohim did. He gave himself up as a fragrant offering and sacrifice, right? Does that make that, is that clear? Now look at well, I'm glad we went to that now. I'm thinking about it. But this is the last scripture. I think it is 2 Corinthians, I think. Yeah. 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 14. Well, I'm glad we're able to go to that, though. 2 and 14, I believe. Yeah. And then going to 15.
Mm-hmm. Amen. But thanks be to Elohim, who always leads us as captives in Hamashiach's triumphal procession and uses us to spread the aroma of the knowledge of him everywhere.
All right. And anybody got the King James?
It says, verse 14. Now thanks be unto Elohim, which always causes us to triumph in Hamashiach, and maketh manifest the savor of his knowledge by us in every place.
Right. So we manifest the savor or the aroma of his knowledge. How does that aroma of knowledge come forth? Through the sacrifice. All right. If it's not sacrifice, it's no knowledge. Nobody wants to be around an animal when he's just walking around. Yeah, anybody ever, well, you know, animals are, you know, it's a lot different between a farm and a barbecue, right?
You better believe it.
So, right. All right. And so what does the next verse say?
15. For we are to Elohim the pleasing aroma of Hamashiach among those who are being saved and those who are perishing.
So either whether we are perishing or whether we are saved, we are a sweet aroma. So our lives, when the apostle says, I beseech you, I beg you by the mercy of Allah, you present your body as a living sacrifice and acceptable. Right. Holy means you can't allow anyone to contaminate you. You don't allow anyone to touch you. All right. Or you don't allow yourselves to be conformed to this age. You don't allow anyone to contaminate you. And acceptable means you are perfect. There's nothing wrong, nothing missing, nothing completing. So that's like the sacrifices. A lamb of the first year, no ailments. And does that mean because my elbow hurts or if I have a sickness, I'm not perfect? No, but your inner man must be complete. You strive for perfection. In the body of Hamashiach, there are no schisms. They went to break Hamashiach's bones, and by the time they went to break them, he was already dead. The offering was already sent up. What that meant is there is nothing broken in Hamashiach. He is complete. His body is complete. And when we are together, we admonish one another, we are complete. Scripture says we are complete what? In him. Separately, we are not. We need each other. We need the strength we all provide. All right? So that's the fellowship of his sufferings, right? That's it. That's all 7 things. We can use those things to admonish ourselves where we are punishing ourselves to live right. All right? Shalom and blessings to Pastor Stewart. Happy birthday to her. Belated birthday, but thank Yahweh for her. Any questions? Anything else? Comments, concerns? I got your aunt, you remember she said at the end of every class? She would ask any questions, comments, concerns, rebuttals. You don't remember she used that? I got to find out what the list is she used to say. She used to say at the end of every class, and I'll be trying to remember that list. So,
thank you for taking us through the 7 last cries. And I can't say again, I don't know if it was by design or not, but the timing of it was just perfect, preparing our hearts and minds for the Pesach and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. I've thoroughly enjoyed each of the 7 and just the in-depth knowledge that you allowed us to get. And again, I am going to be re-chewing on these thoughts, in these next couple days, continuing to prepare for Yahweh's High Holy Time. You couldn't have given us a better foundation of things to kind of think through and study through as we point our hearts in the right direction. So thank you, Pastor.
Sometimes I do want to get through some things quicker, and then sometimes I don't want to rush. And then when I don't rush, the timing comes up like this, like, oh, snap. It just falls right in line, with the holy days and the Pesach coming about. So we thank Yahweh for all things. This is the great Shabbat. Again, not that it's greater than any other, but this is the Sabbath before Pesach. And we are truly grateful and thankful for the family, both near and far. It's good to see Sister Jane. It's so good to see you as always. Sister Jane has been checking on us and coming from the early days, so we're very grateful and thankful to her. Good to see Sister Mark. It's good to see you. And just pray for everyone that everyone be healthy and strengthened as we approach this beautiful time. It is the most wonderful time of the year. Thank God for all things. Again, it's good to see the parents of our dear brother Omar So that's all right. So next Sabbath, we will be going over the times and dates of the calendar, why we keep the festival the way we do. And so hopefully I can get all the information together in a good way where it can be clear and communicative, not debatable, because we're not debating anyone or saying anyone is wrong or right. We're just showing why we keep it and how we keep it based on, as much as possible, what is written. Believe the word and not what you heard. All right. So thank God for all things. We'll break quickly, and then we'll go forth to the next service. Next Sabbath, we will not be eating any leavened bread or dough. So all praises indeed. We're going to miss it, but thank God for all things. It's only a week. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for all things. You are strength like no other. Strengthen us and give us the capacity to do your will. Walk before you and be perfect. Without you, we can do nothing. Thank you for the sacrifice, the price that was paid. Now let us not live anymore unto the flesh, but let us live unto Hamashiach. And let us strive to be perfect with you, walk before you, and be perfect. Thank you for the calling and the election. Let us make it sure. Please remember us. Remember your people. Remember Sister Peach, her mother, and her family. Remember Brother Wayne, Sister Didi, and their family. Continue to strengthen them, help, heal, Eternal Father. Thank you for them. Remember Brother Jeremiah, Sister Alex, touch and strengthen them. Remember us that are here, Eternal Father. Grant us insight, wisdom, understanding, and in all our getting, let us get an understanding. Grant us your strength through Ruach HaKodesh. Grant us your peace. Grant us your power. Thank you for all things in Yeshua's name. So let it be.
And what we want to say is, welcome.